Hello, this is Sheshachalam from Astroguide Mysore. So today we are discussing about certain doubts, and I am not able to clarify all the doubts as per the comments section, but I'll be taking some doubts which are persistingly there is persistence in asking these doubts continuously one after the other. There are many people there, so it's common doubts what we call. There is one doubt asked by Nevlin that are Vargottama planets strong? So, what is a Vargottama? Varga plus Uttama becomes Vargottama. So, what is a Varga? It's a division. So, when a planet sits in a division or a divisional chart and it is improving its position from that of what it was in the Rashi Kundali, we call it Vargottama. That is one definition. The second definition, which is usually used, is that when a planet repeats itself in the same position or the sign from D1 to D9. Like, for example, the first Navamsha of Aries, that is Ashwini Nakshatra, first Pada, will always repeat in the Navamsha of D9 chart. That is the D9 Navamsha chart means D9 chart. So in D1, if a planet is placed in Ashwini Nakshatra first Pada, will repeat itself in the same position in D9 and it is called as Vargottama. So now the question is, are Vargottama planets strong? Obviously they are strong. So there is another question attached to this. If an exalted planet becomes a Vargottama, it enhances its strength and it becomes super exalted. Obviously, the question now is whether a debilitated planet being Vargottama, that is, let us say Saturn is in Aries, Ashwini Nakshatra first Pada, and it again gets debilitated in the Navamsha because it is sitting in Aries. Does this make the planet still weaker? Yes, it will make it still weaker. There are other points which have to be seen in this point of Vargottama. Take for example, there are other classifications of planets sitting in divisional charts like Varga Chakras, and these classifications start from Parijatamsha to Gopuramsha to Devalokamsha. So this is all number of repetitions of planets in either their own sign or in their Mulatrikona Sthana or in their friendly houses or in the point of exaltation in all the divisional charts or some of the divisional charts. So in Uttarakalamruta or in Paladipika, it has been defined in different levels. Paladipika defines 13 Vargas. Some people define Shodasha Vargas, 16 Vargas. So it all depends on how the earlier days Rishis and Munis were classifying the Amshas and how the Vargottama concept came into being. So the simple concept of Vargottama is, if a planet is in D1 and it gets repeated with the same position in D9, it is said to be Vargottama, and the planet becomes stronger. If it is a Yogakaraka and well placed planet in the D1, then obviously it will become very strong, and double debilitation will make it a little more weaker. So that is the clarification.
And to add on this, if it is the 8th house, then if it becomes malefic,
the
then it becomes a strong malefic.
Position of planet is very important. So I have not taken the number. So madam is telling about the 8th house. So 6, 8, 12, if a planet becomes Vargottama, if it is a Yoga Karaka, things are different. People should always understand that a planet sitting in a malefic position or in a benefic position will not fully be benefic or will not fully be malefic. So what it has to give beautifully, it will give. What it has to take away, it will do it. So let us go into the predictions later. So Saturn in the sixth house and its remedial measures. We have spoken about it in many places. I have not started the remedial measure chapter in full flow. I am just teaching now. We are not doing predictive astrology here. If people are thinking that, you tell us more about predictive astrology, I know the interest towards predictive astrology is higher rather than understanding each and every position of a planet. So I very much understand that not all viewers are going to, aspiring to become astrologers because they don't need to see all the planetary positions and in every houses, because they are not going to analyze others charts but their own charts or their family charts, which is a restricted set of examples for them. So but when I am teaching here, I'll be teaching it in a way that I feel that my viewers or students are going to become astrologers, and this would be a starting motivation for them, and it's a good reference point. That is what I feel. So coming to this medical astrology question, I am talking only about medical astrology here with Saturn in the sixth house. Being a malefic and a weak Saturn in the sixth house can give chronic issues to the native. So the best is, this is asked by Sumit Agarwal. So the best remedial measure for this, purely for Saturn, would be good, strict life behavior, humble attitude, and respect to elders, listening to people, meditation, and Saturn. Whenever Saturn comes in the sixth house and it is troubling you with medical chronic ailment, then walk. Saturn means legs. The more you give work to your legs, the more, the better your position will be, and Saturn will trouble you very less. So, but don't do it where, don't do fast walking, aerobics, and all those things and spoil your bone joints. Do a normal walk, because everybody is not of the same weight or of the same age, and they are all not of the same fitness. So, that's how it is. So, the third question here is, does Rahu become more malefic during its last Dasha periods? This has been asked by Shabili, and this strikes a good reference to many people asking me that why does Rahu, when it gets mixed up with fast moving planets, acts differently rather than it getting mixed with slow moving planets? So the same thing, it is very, very close to that particular question, because Rahu, when the dasha starts, will start with Rahu Rahu, then it will be Rahu Jupiter, then it will be Rahu Saturn. All three big dashas, huge ones, nearly 2.5 to 3 years long periods each. So that's somewhere around 8 years of dasha: Rahu, 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 Jupiter, Rahu, Saturn. All are slow moving. Rahu takes 1.5 years in a sign. Jupiter takes approximately 12 to 13 months, that is 1 year in a sign. Then we have Saturn, which takes around 2.5 years in one sign. So, actual question should have been, does Rahu become better when it mingles with slow moving planets, fast moving planets? Because the end of the Rahu Dasha, we will be seeing Rahu Sun, Rahu Moon, and Rahu Mars. So all these three are fast moving: Sun, Moon, and Mars. Very fast. Moon being the fastest, Mars again it's somewhere in the middle along with Sun. Then next comes after Moon comes Venus and Mercury. So these are all fast moving planets. So Rahu, when it is along with the fast moving planets, will give you temporary difficulties which can be handled, or even if you are not able to handle them, it will go away fast. But if you are getting into Rahu Jupiter and Rahu Saturn, this is a period which you have to show concern of. So, Rahu does not become malefic when it is in the last periods of its Dasha, but depending on its placement from the planet. So,
Especially Rahu Mars.
for any Dasha Bhukti, the placement of Rahu should be taken as the Lagna. I have not done the Dasha Bhuktis till date. I have not done many videos are yet to come. Depending on my strength and ability and my time and research, I'll be giving out videos. So the Lagna, if I take Rahu as the Lagna, these are all different techniques. So taking the Mahadasha Lord as the Lagna, from that position, I will start seeing Rahu Jupiter, Rahu Saturn, Rahu Ketu, Rahu Mercury, Rahu Ketu, Rahu Venus, then Rahu Sun, Rahu Moon, Rahu Mars. So these are the placements. So counting from Rahu, if planets are placed in the 6th, 8th or even 12th, the planetary positions are not that great. Those particular Dasha Bhuktis will cause different kinds of problems depending on their lordship and the placement from the ascendant. Hope that was clear. So going to another doubt, it's a little lengthier one, but it is very important as to why do yogas do not work as we are aspiring them to work. We expect that if I have a Gajakesari yoga, it has to give me delicious results or fruitful results. Gajakesari, delicious, because whenever I see Jupiter and Moon, I suddenly imagine beautiful sweets. So that placement of a Gajakesari yoga, or a placement of Buddha Aditya yoga, or a placement of Sasa yoga, or even a placement of Malavya yoga, Panchamaha Purusha yogas, Dharma Karma Adipati yogas, or even the placement, a simple yoga. Let us take a simple yoga of the Lagna Adipati being exalted. Sir, my Lagnadipati is exalted, but I have gone through a lot of challenges and difficulties in this particular period. I don't understand why I am going through so many challenges. We need to understand. So, trying to understand this, firstly, there are many avasthas in which planets are posited. The avasthas are the 9 major avasthas which are given as per the Dipta avastha, Dina avastha, Dukkita avastha, Krodita avastha, Kshobita avastha, Asta, that is Krodita avastha with the sun. So the planetary avasthas are very important. In that also there are beautiful avasthas like Mudita avastha, Pramudita avastha, Shanta avastha. These are all beautiful avasthas, which where the planet will give you comfort, relaxed effect, not moving you too much from one place to another place, not much of disturbance. So other than this, Nicha avastha, debilitation, Kendra adipatya dosha, Vakra avastha, that is retrogression, very important. And timing of the dasha, whether that particular planet which has got involved with that yoga, its particular dasha bhukti is going to operate, the negative aspects or obstructions due to other planets. Very important this is. So whenever people are studying astrology to the higher level, you need to see the Sarvashtaka Vargas, and you need to see the Veda points as per the Sarvato Bhadra Chakra. But I will not go to that level now. So there are planets which are going to obstruct the other planet by their placement. Because of their placement, they will obstruct the other planets Dasha Bhukti. So many of the yogas get cancelled because of malefic or obstructive aspects of planets over the other planets. So Sade Sati overlapping the key period of a yoga or a yoga Dasha. Very important. So as I gave you the example of sweets and Gajakesari yoga, which was an example which will actually make people understand that a person who was a foodie, because of a beautiful Gajakesari yoga in the second house, suddenly will be advised by doctor that he has to forego all these things, because he is going through some medical problem. And that might happen when you have a Gajikesari Yoga in the second house and you have a Sade Sati overlapping over its head. That is, in the second house, now you have Saturn, Jupiter, Moon. So this is just an example. This can happen anywhere in a chart to any combination of a chart. So if that is why when we see transits, that is also one chapter which I have not started at all. So I will be starting transits. So once we understand the crux of astrology, we understand the planetary, what we call karakatva significations, bhava karakatva, that is house significations. Then we get to know the Rashi Karakatvas, the sign significations. Then we need to know the Nakshatra Karakatvas, that is the stellar astrology or stellar significations. Then we can go ahead and then understand the next level. So until then, transits will not make easy sense. So anyway, I think now I have done around 600 videos approx. So we will be going to transits very soon. But before that, I think I will be covering medical astrology. So thank you very much for today's class. Hope I have covered these four doubts into some extent. Thank you.